And we're about to be live. Okay. There we are live. Okay, dear students, thank you very much, as I told you. And let us start. All right, let us start with our class. Today is Wednesday, it's the middle of the week. So I think it's a very good time for us to practice, okay? So let me open here, well, let me share with you my screen. There you are. And as you can see here, I have the simulator already prepared, okay? And we're going to practice together for the second task of the speaking section. So if you remember yesterday's class, we have seen that in this section or in this part of the section, you are required to summarize two different information sources. One information source is related to a written passage that discusses an event or change or activity taking place in a university. And we have seen that afterwards, you have to listen to a conversation of two students discussing the same topic, right? So in this case, we're going to practice by reading and listening such topics. And let us get into it, okay? So speaking task number 2, answer and unanswered. So other thing, if you remember, as I told you yesterday, very important for you to have your notebook or some sheet of paper already prepared for you to take notes on that paper, because especially in the listening audio, you are going to need to take notes, okay, in order to remember all the details and all the information they're mentioned, because it is a lot, and I don't think that anybody will be able to remember everything, okay? So please remember that, have your paper prepared, ready for you to write down. And now let us read, first of all, the passage that we have for this particular exercise, okay? So I'm gonna paste it to the chat box. You're going to be able to read it there, okay? Because here in the screen, it's not very comfortable for you to read it. So please direct your attention towards the chat box, and there you're gonna find the passage for you to read it, okay? It's a very short passage. And here I have my chronometer already prepared and enabled, as you can see. And if you remember, you have 45 seconds to read this, okay? So please start, all of you, reading the passage now. Let me start again. There's somebody else who's joining the class. Okay, dear Alexander, good evening. We are starting with our practice for the second task of the speaking section. And I have pasted to the chat box. I'm gonna paste this passage one more time. I have pasted a reading passage that is going to be the first information source we're going to receive and analyze for us to continue with our practice later on. Okay, so please, we're gonna have 45 seconds with your other classmates for reading this passage. And please start reading, and you're gonna find it, as I told you, in the chat box. So please, all of you, start reading your passage now. Okay, the 45 seconds are over, dear students, and now let us please listen to a conversation of two students discussing this possible execution of advertisements in the radio programming of the university, okay? So let's see what they think about this possible policy they are going to implement. Let's listen.
Now listen to two students discussing the article.
I really don't think this is a good idea.
Ah, really? It sounds like the ads could help the radio station make money.
Well, yeah, I guess, but the radio station already plays a lot of announcements.
Announcements?
Well, yes, between shows they announce campus events, changes in school policy, that kind of thing. If they add commercials too, there'll be a lot less time for the entertainment content.
Yeah, and they can't really stop running those announcements. There's a lot of important info there.
Yeah, and besides, does the college radio station really need to bring in more money? I mean, they just got new sound gear last year, and the music department already pays to bring famous singers to campus. Who cares if they're aired on campus radio if we get the chance to see them live?
I see what you mean. I've never had any problems with the programming myself.
Exactly. I think advertisers will just take up extra time. They won't really improve the station. I think they'll just make things worse. I don't know if I'll keep listening if they really do start running ads.
Well, maybe you're right.
The woman expresses her opinion about the change described in the article. Briefly summarize the change, then state her opinion about the change and give the reasons she states for holding that opinion.
There you are. Okay, dear students, we have listened to the conversation of these two students discussing the possible policy of of advertisements actually in the radio station program. And now it's time for you to summarize both materials. By the way, remember that in your summary of the conversation, center the focus of your response on the main speaker, okay, instead of the secondary speaker. And if you notice, in this case, the main speaker is the female student, all right? So let us start. So please, dear students, as you know, you have 30 seconds in order to prepare your response. So please, all of you, start preparing it now. Good. Thank you very much. Okay, so the 30 seconds are over, and now let us choose the first student to respond to this question. Okay, so dear Paulina, you're going to help me with this one, all right? And then Natalie is going to follow up. So please, dear Paulina, enable your microphone, and please start responding to this question now.
Okay, to begin with the reading in the reading passage, may some airport advertisement will be paid in the future to support the radio program inside the school, and on the other hand, the first main speakers, the reason is it will be better to make money, but it provokes a lot of advertisement or announcements, and also it shows no slow polite, and also the commercial it could be not so good because for the listener. And also it could for example, if we have if they have another advertisement context, also it could help increase money. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, dear Paulina. Very good, very, very good. All right, let's continue with Natalie. Please, dear Natalie, you're going to continue, all right? So please start delivering your response for this question now.
To begin with, in the reading passage, it says that the school radio station is planning to air paid advertisements, and the student director of the radio stations comment that it's a good idea because the money earned will improve programming, will improve recording equipment, and broadcast rights to bring more popular songs and even invite famous singers. On the other hand, the first main speaker says that it's not a good idea because the radio station already has announcements, so it could be less entertaining because less entertaining content, and the campus, the radio station already there's campus events and changes in policies, and there is no need to invite famous singers because it's already paid, and so you can see this singers in face to face.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear Natalie. Very good. All right. So thank you very much for your initial responses. So let me give you some feedback, okay, for both of you now. So for example, in this case, I think that the response of Paulina was very good. I think that she has been certainly able to follow the template. And I think that the time she spent giving the summary of the reading passage and also discussing the conversation and what the main speaker said was actually very accurate and very well fulfilled and managed. It was very good, dear Paulina. My only observation there would be, it is not necessary for you to say main speaker. Of course, you can say it, but maybe you would prefer other word in order to describe the student. You could simply say the female student or the student, and that's it. But anyways, if you want to keep up saying main speaker, it's totally fine, all right? But by the way, I just wanted to clarify also to Natalie, that it's not necessary to name this person as the main speaker in the response, okay? It's just well, let's say a title that I have put or that I have bestowed upon this speaker because I know and I identify that of course is the main speaker in this conversation, but it's not necessary for you to name it that way or to refer this speaker as the main speaker in your response, okay? Just wanted to clarify that. But very good, dear Paulina. No more observations apart from that. And for Natalie, I think that it was also very good. Nonetheless, of course, in this case, you exceeded your time a little bit, or I don't know, 10 seconds maybe. And I think that the reason why you didn't have time in order to include the entire response within the minute was because your summary, although it was very good, of the reading passage was too long. As I told you, you shouldn't emphasize very much in your summary of the reading passage because, as I say, the more important part, or excuse me, the most important part in this particular response is to talk about the conversation, what the speaker said, and to spend and to dedicate more time discussing and mentioning, of course, what the main speaker said, what is his opinion, what arguments and reasons he has for holding that opinion. So as I say, maybe at 10 seconds, 15 seconds as a maximum would be a good time for you to discuss the reading passage in a very concise manner. It is not actually necessary for you to mention all the aspects that the reading passage said, but just the, let's say, the central idea or the general idea, because later it makes very much clear, it makes itself very much clear through your discussion of the conversation, right? Because in the conversation, as they discuss the same topic, at the end, the reviewer will have a very good summary of the reading passage through the conversation because they are discussing the same thing, right? They are talking about the same topic. So at the end, the reviewer will have a very good summary of the reading section without actually having paid very much attention to it, right? So I would recommend you to diminish that time you're spending there for a while and until you, of course, you are able to measure for you how much it is to, or how much appropriate would be to discuss the conversation, okay? But anyways, very good, dear Natalie. The rest is fantastic. Okay, so let us continue, all right, with more. I think that Lucia has also joined us, right? Lucia, we were practicing for the second task, as you can see, and now you're going to be able to join us as well because we're going to practice a second exercise, all right? So prepare your notebooks, prepare your sheets of paper, prepare everything you need, and let us start, okay? I'm going to paste one more time the reading passage to the chat box, okay? Because here you could not read it because it's a little bit uncomfortable because I have to scroll down the menu. So I think it's not going to be very much convenient. So better if I paste it here, all right? So I have pasted it already and you can see it and read it, okay? Fantastic, oh, here now. So dear students, you know that you have 4 or 5 seconds in order to read this passage. So please start reading it now. There you are. Okay, so please now, dear students, it's time for us to listen, okay, to a conversation on the same topic. In this case, as you have seen, a possible change, or well, an already decided change of tearing down a cafeteria and constructing a new, let's say, food court, all right? So please start now listening to the conversation.
Now, listen to two students discussing the announcement.
Did you hear about the new food court on South Campus?
Yeah, man, it's too bad they're getting rid of the cafeteria.
What? Why? Won't it be good to have a few more options?
I don't know. I don't feel like this really gives us more choices. The cafeteria already had dishes from other countries. They had vegetarian options and customizable sandwiches, too. It's not like the quality of this new food court's ingredients is going to be much better than what we had. I'll bet it's all from the same source, even.
You think? I mean, yeah, if they don't even change their supplier, the offerings probably won't be all that different.
Exactly. Just pricier.
Wait, why is that?
The cafeteria was all you can eat. You'd get as much food as you wanted for a flat price. But at a food court, you've got to order individual meals. That ends up costing more.
You've always liked to load up a big plate, huh?
You've got that right. If I have to buy 4 meals every day, it's going to be hard on my wallet.
The man expresses his opinion about the change described in the article. Briefly summarize the change. Then state his opinion about the change and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion.
There you are. Fantastic. So now we have finalized with this, dear students. Let us get into our response, okay? So as you know, you have 30 seconds in order to prepare a response for this exercise. And please, I ask you to start preparing those responses now. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so who's going to start with this round of responses? Natalie, please, could you make the honors to start? So please, your Natalie, enable your microphone. Start, please, responding to this question now.
To begin with, in the written passage, it says that the running hall will be redesigned, and this will include restaurants, cafes, stores, in order to offer different options for the students. The male student says that it's not a good idea because the cafeteria they already have food of another countries, so it will be the same, and it's not going to be much better. Another reason he gave is because it's going to be a food court, and it's going to be more expensive because in a flat price is able to pay and eat a lot than by paying individual meals, and that it will cost more.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Natalie. Very good. Who's going to continue? Please, dear Paulina, could you continue with the responses? So please start responding to the question, dear Paulina, now.
Okay, to begin with in the reading passage, the cafeteria are going to be reconstructed again, and also they are gonna change with more different options of food that they are going to offer to different options to their students in that school. And also, for example, on the other hand, the main male speaker, he thinks that is it's a bad idea because it it is going to be more expensive than the coffee offers the food, and also they in the cafeteria also has different options, and it is better when it is individual because it is more cheaper.
Fantastic. Very good. Thank you very much, dear Paulina. And finally, please, dear Lucia, would you finalize with this round? Start, please, responding to this question now.
To begin with, in the read passage says that the dining hall will be redesigned with a new food court. It will include international food, vegetarian food, among others, and it will be open when the students return to classes. And on the other hand, and the conversation says that it's a bad idea because the cafeteria is and now because the cafeteria is going to be out, it won't give a lot of choices and it's not going to be the same quality. And since they won't change the supplier and it's going to be the same supplier, it'll be at a higher price. And it will be at a higher price because it will take orders individually and you just can take it and collectively. And it's going to affect on the wallet on the students.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. All right. So I have to say that I loved all the 3 responses that you have offered. I don't have any particular commentary with regard to the grammar or with regard to the pronunciation of any word. I think that with regard to those aspects, all of you are offering fantastic responses with a great quality. All right. Apart from that, with regard to the template, I think that you have also grasped very well the fact that you don't have to mention your opinion, you don't have to add anything external, and I love that. All right. So I think that with regard to that aspect as well, all of you are doing an incredible job. All right. And finally, I think that with regard to the timing you are having for your responses, that is to say, how you're administering your time during the response and your minute, I think it's also adequate because all of you are taking, let's say, 15 seconds to offer a summary of the reading part, and the rest of the response is just for you to summarize what the main speaker said. And I think that is awesome because, as I mentioned, it is a matter of summarizing and emphasizing more on the conversation instead of the reading passage, okay? So I think the responses are quite good, very, very good, actually. So let us just continue improving and let us just continue practicing, okay? Let's have more practice. Okay. Oh, yes, there are some questions, please. Please, Lucia, you go first.
Yes, teacher, I have a question. I didn't understand if we have to say, for example, because I didn't say it, and I don't know if it's okay. Says that and the main speaker said this and blah blah blah, and the second speaker said that. I can only can I say only the conversation goes that? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I understand the question. I think that you're referring to the fact, should you mention let's say the interventions of the secondary speaker or not? And as I told you, when we were discussing this yesterday, I don't think it would be necessary because if you think about the content of the conversation, the only person that adds something that is significant to the discussion is the main speaker. So as I say, avoid mentioning the secondary speaker. It's actually not important. It's somebody who is irrelevant for the conversation. Focus your attention on what the main speaker says. And actually, if you listen to the instruction that the voice gives you at the end of the instructions here, it says, where is it? State his opinion, it says, right? His opinion. It doesn't say their opinion. It's just referring to a particular individual. And that individual is, of course, the main speaker, right? So as I said, in this case, it was the male student. So you did very well by basically ignoring the secondary speaker and just mentioning what the main speaker had to say, his opinion and the reasons he offered. All right. So as I said, that is exactly what you have to do. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucia. Paulina, please, you go next.
Yes, I have a question. For example, when we are speaking in the speaking part, we have to use contractions or we have to avoid contractions like in the writing part, or what do we have to do?
Oh, that is a very good question, actually. Thank you very much, dear Paulina. I would say, well, it depends on 2 things. Of course, when you're speaking in a more polite, let's say informal manner, you avoid contractions. That is true. Nonetheless, of course, here you have one more factor, that is the time. And for many people, it is better and preferable to use contractions because they know that when they speak with those contractions, it's easier to, let's say, to mobilize their language. Nonetheless, I think it's a matter of preference in this case. I don't think that the reviewer pays attention to that very much. What he's looking for is actually a good grammar, a good pronunciation, and a good vocabulary. The fact that you use or you not use these contractions, like for example, instead of saying he will be and just saying he'll be, is actually fine. It's a matter of preference. What I wouldn't recommend you would be to use these super informal contractions, as for example, instead of saying I'm going to, avoid saying I'm gonna. That type of super informal contractions like I'm gonna or I gotta or I wanna, those type of contractions, of course, you should avoid them, right? Because they are not contractions as such. They are actually wrong expressions. I wanna is not something that exists in English, although, of course, when you are speaking with native, they use it, but that is, let's say, one of their colloquialisms, but no more than that. So wanna, gotta, I don't know, things of expressions like those type of sentences, of course, you should avoid them. But expressions that are good and correct, I mean, grammatically correct contractions, like for example, he'll, she's, or I don't know, they're, right? Instead of saying they are, I think that all of them are valid expressions if you want to mention them because of, I don't know, maybe it seems more natural to you to use them at some context. Please use them, okay? It's not something that would harm you in any manner, but I don't think that it will also affect you in any positive regard, okay?
Thank you.
All right, fantastic, dear Paulina, my pleasure. Okay, there you are. So let us continue, all right, with the exercises. Or is there any other question? Maybe Natalie, or any other question? Your students, anything?
No, teacher, is clear.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for your questions. You can always raise your hand, by the way. Thank you. All right, so let's continue. Let's go with a third exercise for you to practice this. Okay, let's see what we have here in the second one. All right, here we are. So I'm going to paste this one more time to here the chat. Okay, so please direct yourself to the chat box and you're going to find the passage, okay, for you to read it. So let me give you 45 seconds, all right, for you to, let's say, consume this passage and start doing so now. Okay, there you are. So please, dear students, now let us listen to the conversation on the same topic. And in this case, it's a change in the bus service of this university. Let's see. Take your notes, okay? Don't forget.
Now listen to two students discussing the announcement.
So did you hear that the university is cutting its transportation budget and ending all bus service?
I did hear that. But it's no big deal, right? I mean, the university is also compensating all students with $50 vouchers for public transportation. The vouchers can be used on, like, the subway and public buses. So it sounds like there won't be a big problem.
Are you kidding me? This is going to be horribly inconvenient. I mean, like, first of all, there's no public transportation to the DeWolf Science Center. It's far away from any subway and bus station, and getting there will require a 20-minute walk through some of the worst neighborhoods in the city.
I guess that will be a problem for some people. But try to look at it this way. There's too much division in this country between university students and the people who live in the cities around them. Won't this encourage a spirit of togetherness, like when we're all using the same public transportation?
But actually, I think that this policy, that it won't help create much new interaction between students and city dwellers at all.
Why not?
Well, because $50 is not very much money. I mean, it'll probably only cover about a month's worth of subway or bus passes. I mean, most students won't be able to afford to take public transportation, so with students forced to walk everywhere, I just don't understand where all of this great new interaction is going to be happening.
The female student expresses her opinion about why she disagrees with the university's new policy. State her opinion and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion.
There you are. Fantastic. Okay, so now let's start with the, where are we? Okay, let's start with the 30 seconds of preparation, okay, for all of you. So please, dear students, start preparing your responses now. Okay, your time is over. All right, so now the third round of responses is going to be started by Lucia. All right, dear Lucia, so please enable your microphone and start responding to the question now.
And to begin with, in the read passage, it says the university is no longer going to be able to offer complimentary transportation. Instead, they're giving $50 pass that can be used on all public buses and subways. And on the other hand, because they're cutting the transportation budget, they will need to use public transportation, and it's not near, and they will have to walk and a lot to get to the bus stop, and they will have to walk through the worst neighborhood, and it won't help. That this policy won't help much for the interaction between the citizens and the local community. And also, the $50 pass that they're given is not much and won't be able to be affordable for students.
Okay, thank you very much, dear Lucia. Very good. Stops. I think that the word we're looking for is stops, right? Paradas? Or
yes, I didn't know how to say in plural, like bus stops, but I don't know.
Stops. Yes.
Okay.
No, very good. Very good. Anyways, very good. Okay, so let's continue with Paulina. Please, here, Paulina, could you continue with this one? So please start responding to the question now.
To begin with the reading passage, a university is going to offer transportation buses because for the city large, because they are going to give for students $50 for the students can transport or can go away to the university. On the other hand, the female female speaker thinks that no public transportation for the science place because it is far away. You have to walk 20 minutes, and it could be a problem for some people. Actually, this it is not polite because it will create some reactions for some students because $50 is not much money. It is not enough, and also because it will be better for near the university.
Okay, thank you very much. Very good, dear Paulina. Fantastic, and let's finalize with Nathalie. Okay, so please, here, Nathalie, start please responding to the question now.
To begin with, in the written passage, it's announced that the university will no longer provide complement transportation between stops and campus. Instead, they will give a pass for public transportation. The female student stated that it's a bad idea and it's going to give a big problem. So the first reason is because there is no public transportation to certain places, so it will require to walk. And the second reason is because it's not going to bring any interaction because their $50 pass is not much money and it only will cover a month, and then the students will won't be able to take the bus and will need to walk.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much. All right. So let me just give you some feedback now, okay, to all of you. So I think the response was actually very good in all of your performances. I think that, well, for Lucia, it was just that little word stops, right? But apart from that, I think there were no mistakes. It was excellent. Okay, very good, dear Lucia. With regard to Paulina, I think exactly the same as well. I think that it was a very good response. Maybe you were struggling with one word, transport. When you use this word as a verb, you say, right, I transport myself to my university, or the buses transport me, right? But when you say it in, let's say in the past tense, it's transported me. And transporting when you are using the gerund, right? But anyways, very good. Transport, or they use it to transport themselves or to transport themselves to other places. And they have been using this bus service for transporting themselves to different locations in the university, right? That will be the expression, but very good. Apart from that, no mistakes. Very, very good response, good template, etc. And for Natalie, no things to comment on. Fantastic response, okay? So as I say, it's very good. I'm very, very much, how could I say it, overwhelmed of how your responses are being incredibly well delivered and released. And I think that if you continue with this particular level in this task, and if you repeat the same type of response during the actual exam, you're not going to have any trouble to receive a high score. Okay, so that's very good. Let us just continue practicing, and let us have more experience, because of course experience just makes us better, right? So let's go with a fourth one. By the way, always, as I told you, the first thing you're going to see when you start a section is basically a set of instructions, right? As this, for example, you will now read a short passage and then listen to a conversation on the same topic. So of course, in this case, it is not necessary for you to read this. You can just skip it because you know exactly what to do, right? So just press next, or maybe you want to wait until the computer takes you directly to the other part of the task. Anyways, it's your preference and up to you. Well, here we have the new passage, okay? So I'm going to deposit this one more time on the chat box. If you want to read it, there you have it, okay? So let us start with this new one. And please, all of you, start reading your passages now. There you are. Okay, dear students, now it's time for us to listen to the conversation on the same topic, all right? Let us see what we have here. Okay, let us go and listen to the conversation.
Now listen to two students discussing the announcement.
I think it's totally unfair that the Buonacore Scholarship is only being offered to students in the Romance Languages department. Like, it's an amazing opportunity, and it's so sad to see it monopolized in this way.
Is it really such a bad thing to limit the scholarship to one department, though? I mean, the fewer students compete for the prize, the easier it'll be for students like us to win it. After all, there are only 7 other students in the whole Romance Languages department besides us.
That doesn't change the fact that it's wrong for the scholarship to be limited to our single department. It's a matter of principle. First of all, there are students in other departments, like history and classics and Renaissance studies, all of whom would definitely benefit from a year in Italy. Why shouldn't they get a chance to submit their work to the committee?
But if they also submitted their essays, it would be harder for us to get the prize.
Look, just because something benefits me personally doesn't make me think that it's right. I mean, I have a lot of friends in history and classics and Renaissance studies, and I totally agree with them that it's wrong for them to be ineligible to compete for the scholarship. After all, Romance Languages is a very small department, and it seems abusive for us to keep this resource all to ourselves.
I guess I see where you're coming from.
Also, I think that it takes something away from the honor of winning the scholarship if the competition isn't very strong. I'd rather know that I earned the opportunity to study in Rome by competing against the very best students, instead of thinking that I was only honored because other talented people were unnecessarily excluded from the process.
There you are. Okay. So 30 seconds, okay, as it is usual for us. Please, dear students, start preparing your responses for this question now. Okay, there you are. So please now, who's going to start? Paulina, all right, dear Paulina, you're going to start with this one. So please, dear Paulina, enable your microphone and start responding to the question now.
To begin with the reading passage, a university is going to offer the opportunity to study about in Romance language in France or in Rome. Yep. It will be free for 2 semesters, and also the students have to submit the essays talking about the culture and the different ways of it when they are going to go to another country. And on the other hand, the male speaker, she thinks that it is bad because it is going to limit the scholarship, and also it will be a competence for all of the students. And also she thinks that the Romance department is also the small department. And
Oh, very good. Very, very good. Thank you very much, Paulina. There you are. Nathalie, you're going to follow up, okay? So please, dear Nathalie, start responding this question now.
Okay, to begin with, in the written passage, it says that the university is offering a scholarship to study in Rome tuition free, and the students may submit an essay explaining how it will provide benefits to them. The female student says that it's unfair that only Romance language departments are included in this scholarship. It's unfair to limit for this department, and so they have to give the opportunity to benefits to them and the chance to submit their essays. And another reason is because he wants competitions and to give the opportunity to them, no matter if it's more difficult to get the scholarship because more people is applying to it.
Incredible. Thank you very much, dear Nathalie. And we're going to finalize this one with Lucia. Okay, so please, dear Lucia, start responding to the question now.
To begin with, in the reading passage, it says that the university is giving the opportunity of studying 2 semesters in Rome with a tuition free and only for the students in the Romance languages department. In order to do so, the students will have to write an essay and explain a detailed plan on how they will take this opportunity further. And on the other hand, the student, she is saying that she considers it's totally unfair that it's only from the Romance languages department. Although it's going to be easier for them to apply, it doesn't feel right because she has friends from classic and Renaissance department, and they should also have to be given the chance to submit. And it will take something away because the competition for her is not going to be fair because students will be excluded.
Incredible. Thank you very much, dear Lucia. I would actually like to have some commentaries to make on your responses, but I think that the quality of your responses at this point is just remarkable. Okay, so I think that the only thing that I can say is when you practice this alone, a very good manner to to improve in this particular task is something that I would recommend you is to watch, for example, or to, when you are, for example, of course, in your free time, right? Give yourself the opportunity to watch series or movies that are related to university things. That is to say, I don't know, for example, I know that there are some series or movies that have to do with universities. Actually, many movies, especially I think comedies, are related to university situations, right? Fraternities, things of that sort, right? And actually, those type of movies, I think they could be useful. Why? Because you're going to notice the way that students speak among themselves. And of course, that saying of topics are also mentioned here in these responses, okay? So maybe in your free time, instead of, I don't know, watching movies about violence and drama or things of that sort, maybe you prefer to watch movies that are related to this topic, right? Because somehow you get the idea of how this works as well anyways. You get it, you perceive how students speak normally. And I think that is a huge advantage when you are practicing this, all right? So that will be a very important recommendation I wanted to make. Now I want to use the rest of our time here to do something else. Where are we? Here. So I wanted to remember you, you also have, as I told you, the opportunity to have personal calls with me in order to study this particular section. I think that Paulina is already having the benefit. She has already reserved some classes with me, and we have been practicing for this. So for Natalie and for Lucia, whenever you want, I'm gonna send right now to the WhatsApp group one more time the document, okay, that tells you all the steps you have to follow in order to receive the opportunity to have this 15 minutes calls with me. And I think they are super useful, especially if you're thinking about taking the exam, well, very soon. We're gonna practice in this 12-15 calls minutes with me just for the speaking section. And we're gonna do exactly the same that we do here, but of course, in a one-to-one manner. And of course, it's always more personalized, right? And I can give you some more personal feedback. So let me send it right now to the chat box. By the way, you can make any questions if you have one at this point. Until I send this right now. Do you have any question about the task? Anything that you would like to comment maybe on the responses? By the way, you are doing incredibly well. I'm very surprised at how well you're performing. What's this? Here. I found it. Yes, Lucia, please.
Yes, teacher. Is it okay if I repeat some words from the reading passage?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for the question. Yes, it is totally fine. Of course, better if you use another words, if you try to express the same with your own words, because when you think about a summary, you don't think about, let's say, about copying things right from the original source, but you think about, well, when having read that particular material, you think about a work that summarizes the information, but with your own words, with your own understanding. So I would say that it's preferable to use different words whenever it is possible. But of course, if you're going to emphasize on something or worry about something, this is, let's say, a super minimal detail. You should also worry about, thinking about the structure, thinking about good vocabulary. It's not a worry that I would have about this, but as I say, responding anyways, it is also preferable to use always your own words when summarizing both topics and avoid repeating words because, of course, it gives a sense of personality and also originality, right, to your response. And you are always looking out for standing out, right, from the rest, because when you stand out from the average test taker, that is the point where the test or the reviewer of the exam gives you the high score, right? And as I know that all of you are looking for high scores, you want to differentiate yourself from the average test taker. So a very good manner to do so is to always avoid what normally people do. And what people normally do is, well, they repeat the same words, right? So as I say, very few, express information with your own words, and it's actually easier, I think, right? So that would be your Lucia.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Okay, so if you look at the WhatsApp group, I sent one more time the announcement for you to reserve these speaking sessions. You can reserve them whenever you want. Of course, I'm not putting pressure on you. Just wanted to remember you that you can access to this benefit of the classes. Okay, it's free. It's not something extra or something like that. You can just reserve. There you have the document for you to know how to do it, and you can check out the available times. And if you have time also on those moments, well, please feel free to reserve, and I'm going to be super glad to accompany you, right, with this. Fantastic. So if there are no more questions, we're going to stop here. Our class
Teacher,
and tomorrow. Yes, question.
Sorry,
Paulina.
teacher, it will be the same with the speaking part. For example, if I write while I am listening the speaking part, the conversation, and what happened also the same if I write and when I gonna talk, I say the same, like similar words or the same words, or it doesn't matter, or it is the same like in the reading.
No, it's the same. It's the same. It's completely the same. You say in the writing, or I didn't understand very well. In the writing section, or you're talking about this
No,
section?
in this section.
On this section. Okay, no, it's okay. It's okay. As I say, when analyzing both information sources, you can take the words you want from any of those. Anyways, as I say, it's always preferable to use your own words. Not only because it's easier, but also because, as I say, it adds some sort of personality to your response, and you're always looking for standing out right from the rest. But as I say, if you want to copy one word, because of course you cannot look for a different vocabulary option at that time, well, feel free to do it. As I say, it's a minimum detail. It's not something that I don't think that reviewers go about thinking, oh, he used the same words for this, right? I don't think that they do, though. They do so in this case, though, of course, they do it in the writing section, because in the writing section, it's like you can copy, right? Copy and paste. But in this particular section, as you don't have the option to copy and paste, but you just simply repeat the words, well, I think it's not actually something very important. Okay?
Okay.
Very good. Okay, my pleasure. So let me stop here. Please don't go. I have to take your assistance. And please, your students, also help me with the traditional poll, okay, that we always feel. You know, it helped me a lot. So please look at your screen, help me with that, and listen to your names, all right? Where are we? Here. Sheets. Inform. Here we are. What open? All right. And help me please, your students, with one more. Remember that today is Wednesday. So on Wednesdays, you always have to fill 2 different polls for me. I'm so sorry for bothering you, but you know, the company. So just help me with one more little poll that is on your screen right now. Okay, so now listen to your name. Is here present Guzman Guadalupe? And she's not here. Stolina Raquel, sadly as well, she has not been able to join us. Nathalie?
Present.
Thank you very much, Nathalie. What about Jo Maria? Well, she was not able. Grados Lucia?
Present.
Thank you very much, Lucia. There you are. And finally, we have Paulina. Paulina Yasmin.
I'm present.
Thank you very much. Here, Paulina. There you are. Okay, so I think that we are done. Thank you very much for your responses. And as I say, I'm going to be seeing you tomorrow, all right? In order for you to continue with our excursus and with our practice on the 3rd task of the speaking section, all right? So I see you tomorrow. I see you next time, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, teacher. Have a great night. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
See you later.
teacher. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.